celebrating the power of best friend energy this hour, and that's why some people on our show and our Tam fam love their besties, but not everyone knows how to forge the best friendships. And we always love getting advice here because the easiest things in life sometimes are the hardest things in life. And the New York Times even dedicated an entire report this year to what's being called the epidemic of loneliness. And our next guest has dedicated her career to help reverse this trend. Danielle Bayard-Jackson is a life coach who specializes in friendships. She helps people develop skills to deepen their connections and gives practical tips for making new bonds. With over 4.5 million likes on her friendship-focused TikTok, Danielle also hosts a weekly podcast on building friendships, and her advice has appeared in the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post. Tam fam, please welcome Danielle Bayard-Jackson. You know, Danielle, I am so struck about this notion that we're entering this lonely phase, right? And that's part of also the seriousness of why we wanted to have this conversation. What do you see happening? How do you explain it?
I think it's important that when it comes to loneliness, we don't take it as a signal that there's something wrong with us, which is what I hear a lot. And so it's kind of like the cycle, because then we isolate, we feel like we're repellent, something's broken. But the reality is reframing it is really helpful. So the same way your body shows you that you need to get something to drink by making you thirsty, or when you're hungry, you need food, loneliness is just a signal that you need to go and get some connection.
You know, and I know a lot of times in life, of course, we're in relationships, we have children. Referring back to what Mrs. Obama said, she said, listen, and her quote was, Barack is not my life. We all decided that we wouldn't be each other's lives, that she needed friendships to sustain. So whether you're a mom who's put your child first or you put your significant other or spouse first, you can't leave friendships on the back burner.
Right, which is what we tend to do, right?
Yeah.
When we become busy adults, we've got all the things, and so we push friendship to the margins of our lives, but there's just too much research that draws a direct connection between the quality of our social network and our physical, mental, and emotional health.
You know, I know you said, you know, friendships are important for many, many reasons. People always ask, and I think you said one of the common questions is, how many friends do you need?
Yeah.
Do you need a big group? I happen to have lived in different places. I lived in Chicago for 10 years, Philly for 4 years, Dallas, Fort Worth most of my life, and here. So I have, as I showed, friend groups on each part of my journey, and then they all became friends, which is why we have that army there. But there's no magic number. If you have one solid, that's good enough. It's the quality of the friendship,
That's right, and I saw pictures of your squad earlier.
Yeah, my squad is real.
Yes. Yeah, so there's research that suggests between 3 to 5 close friendships is what you need. And I always
Why
tell
do
people,
3 to 5, I wonder?
You know, because of the cognitive and emotional demand that's required to sustain a healthy friendship. You're showing up for them, they're showing up for you, and the time that's required to deepen a friendship. So, you know, there's new research that even shows that to take somebody from an acquaintance to a friend is 34 hours. So time's a limited resource. If you're thinking about how much time, how many people.
So about 34 hours is what it takes to make a bond.
To make a real bond.
Really?
And so
I love that there are numbers on this. Right?
There are numbers, but I tell people who are discouraged, like, oh, I don't have 3 to 5, I don't have a Tamron squad. I let them know that as long as you have one person, you're already starting to reap those benefits of friendship.
Yeah, and you know, we have the saying, fair exchange, no robbery. What that means is if I'm telling you something about my life, you have to tell me something about your life. No one-sided friendships here. Do not have friends where you're sitting there saying, I had an argument with my husband, or I'm having financial, and they're just sitting there going, go on. I'm like, no, we need to fair exchange. So this has to be reciprocity in this friendship.
Absolutely, and especially with women, the number one thing that we tend to seek in our friendships is emotional support. So having that reciprocity is important to feeling known, to feeling seen, and so you can't just give, they've got to give a little too.
I love that. You want to shout out your best friend? Any friends come to mind?
They know who they are. I have a couple of ladies, and I thank them all the time for affirming me, correcting me, forgiving me, you know, supporting me. And so I feel very blessed to have a squad of my own.
I love you said correcting me. Those are the friends. My friends are really tough on me. They will call me and say, what the, and I love that, because I feel like a rising tide, you know that saying, rising tide lifts all boats. And I don't want people around me telling me what I want to hear. I want you to tell me the truth. And those are real friends. So thank you so much. I love it. I love it.